See how long it takes him to realize I'm in the car.
I was just sorry, Brian. I was off my own world there for.
No, you're good. I want to see how long it take you to realize I was in the car.
No, I noticed. I saw the blip. How you doing?
You know, pretty good, not too bad. Want to catch up with you, let you know what's going on, all that kind of jazz.
Yeah, I was having a look at the reports there when I got back on duty, just to get caught up a little bit of what was going on.
So I just learned that apparently the Swedish have been attacking us, like, for the 4th time now, but seemingly no one knows the why. Not that there isn't one, just that there isn't a explanation, I guess. So that's interesting.
This is the 4th time.
Yes, according to King, but it
Jesus,
seems
okay.
like one of those things where it's like, you know, it's happening, but it's just kind of happening. Not to say that there isn't a reason for it. There probably is. It's just no one's kind of like, seemingly it doesn't seem like anything's been done about it. Like outside of whatever is happening in the immediate.
Yeah. That's been happening over like a 10-day period by the looks of it.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, pretty interesting stuff. So where am I with things? Okay, so next week I'm looking to get like combat stuff going, and specifically what I mean by that is like the military stuff. I don't know what day exactly, but I'll probably try to get with everyone to sort of figure out the what. But how's everything with you?
Everything's grounded me. Yeah, just you know, I've been very busy this month, so I've been in and out of the country a good bit. So.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. So, back today, getting caught up. So.
It is December, so it's like understandable.
Yeah. Other than that, like I'm morale is good. I'm feeling great. I'm enjoying it a lot. You know. Yeah, that's a good thing anyway. Definitely, I've been enjoying it actually more than I thought I would do it, and I already had high hopes anyway. So.
Oh yeah. The Academy went well last weekend. A lot of people showed up and they were like really tapped in, and
yeah,
seeing that there's kind of like a bigger picture. I am very quickly learning that even though that there is like this sort of, there's a lot of things people say in San Andreas, but they say it in the minute based on the immediate information, right? And where I'm going with this is there is still that mantra of, well, you don't need this many marshals. Where are the marshals?
Yeah.
Why are the marshals not trained? Don't poach our people that have training, you know?
Yeah.
The reality, though, is I do think we need more people. I do think, you know, there are more things happening that is within the, let's call it like the purview of the marshals, like things that we kind of inherently are responsible for. And yeah, we don't have the people and maybe not the expertise, but I think that's kind of like a problem across the board, right?
Oh yeah, that's nobody is not a culprit of that for sure in any department.
And so I do plan on like continue to kind of hire, but for in terms of like the immediate, I want to get that like patrol cert shit up, because I do think we have people that once developed up are going to be quite good. Rooker comes to mind immediately. I don't know if you've ran into her too much, but she's extremely diligent on multiple aspects. But then Cole Granger has that thing in him that you can, sort of tell this guy is going to go places, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not just yet, but he will be. So there's that. I do want to talk warrant apprehensions, though. So what I've kind of came to realize is I think with these ones that have to do with the faceless stuff, it's kind of been, I think Ruth's been busy. You've been busy. And so, I think we should probably convene on that and just take action and go primarily for the arrests. And there's a couple things that came out of the warrant apprehension stuff. One was for future, we're going to put at the top of the warrant apprehension the names of the people that should either A, be notified if someone comes into custody for whatever that reason is, like outside of the marshal warrant, or number two, who can actually activate these. Like, in other words, like who needs to be present to ensure things, like, who has the context to put them in. And where I'm at with the recent ones is like, I don't want it to take too long, because they're terrorists, but we got to be reasonable about it too. Is that I think we go full dick on those and get them executed, right? Because I don't think there's really too much like investigatively that we need to know about. Like, we kind of know the story now, even absent of the arrests, is Brandon wanted to stab me, so he allowed his friends and co-faceless assets die for it. Like, I don't think there's much more to it. So I don't think we got to sit. Like, it's not like it's a weapons dealer, right? Where we need to extract more information. I don't think there is any. But
no, this is more consequences to actions and bringing them to justice type of deal instead of getting more out of it, I guess.
Yep, exactly that. And I think the other reason I'm sort of pushing for that too is because given that I was the victim, I reasonably should not be leading the charge, but also I know Ruth has limited time on the weekends, but that's not gonna be enough cycles, right? This is we almost need just squad up in both shifts and just execute on it. I think, like, for example, we had DJ Cooper in custody yesterday, like I think PD did, for like a bank truck, and I was kind of hinting at it, but I foolishly wanted to wait for Ruth for it. Is like I was thinking afterwards, like, we should have just served that, right? No reason to sit. Otherwise,
I think when it definitely gets to the later half of their statute as well, we can try and obviously like this month's a testament for it. Like, it's a very busy month for a lot of people with personal lives and stuff. So you lose like 10-15 days very quickly because people are either away at different times, and so especially when it gets to the latter half of their statute, I think if they're in custody, at least maybe, I think at minimum, anyone who has the patrol cert or who's patrol savvy, I guess, maybe attach that call as like a outlier, or just as backup, just so that they're involved in the call, maybe up until the point of arrest, instead of just like, oh, I hear on the radio that a person of interest is arrested, I'm just gonna go serve this warrant. I think that's And if we have to do it, we can do it. But I would like somebody from the marshals to be a part of the majority of the call, or at least some of it, to have the context of the call. And that,
true. To like keep the
saying?
vibe of it so it doesn't turn into. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
And towards like local PD, it doesn't just look like one marshal's just swooping in, making processing more complicated or anything like that, or just like it could help as well with like the relationship between our department and those two. Well, probably with BCSO, I think LSP will always struggle, but yeah, I think you get where I'm going with.
Yeah,
that.
no. I agree wholeheartedly. Like what you're saying is, yeah, no, I get that. You don't. No one is going to want to work on something that they are not intimately involved in. And that's just pretty normal. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, that makes perfect sense. In fact, I'm going to go as far as saying I had a very interesting conversation with Nakota. And I came to realize, obviously, he's newer in the Marshals Department, but I was even under the impression that at minimum he would be aware of some of the faceless stuff, and he was pretty open about it. He said like, hey, some of the stuff I was telling him about the faceless was like news to him, and that to me was an indicator that if he doesn't know, then probably a lot of other PD doesn't know. But we've really pushed for getting the information out there, but it's hard to do that, right? You're sort of, even if you had all hands, are people going to pay attention in the moment unless they're like intimately involved?
Yeah,
but I think that's a bigger challenge.
Same
than
as
just...
myself. Like, I think I knew a little bit more, paid a tiny bit more attention, but like myself and Dakota have been like partners for a couple of months, and like we responded to a lot of the the backup calls for like the big things with the faces. But other than that, we've always seen it when we were back in BCSO, it was like out of our purview. We're there to assist, and that's where it ends, right? Like we weren't digging,
and that's not what I want it to be. I want my plan. I'm just to be rather transparent. My plan from the very onset is that the marshals are sort of like setting these things up, then divulging it to the PD, and that's how I kind of started things, especially when it came to these big events. But the reality is, like, I'm just gonna be straight with you, is that Pred came in with the most divisive energy.
Yeah.
Where ultimately the BCSO stopped coming to the joint meetings, didn't even want to do it anymore. And when he was satisfied dividing out the BCSO, it became the marshals. So now the environment's kind of in this weird spot where it's like, how do we get people together to do these things outside of a 78s? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not like people aren't working together, but it prevents like a, like a shift meeting update.
It really prevents kind of a unification against one thing, or like for meetings, or like to work properly on something without it being, life or death, right? It just kind of throws a massive spanner in the works.
100%. Now that I'm not giving up on it, I just,
No, it's just an issue. I think the only silver lining of it, and would be that where you do really get the diamonds coming out, right? The ones that are really good, who don't really give a shit about that kind of stuff and come help anyway, right? Which is all. It's a small silver lining. It's a very good one, but ultimately, yeah, the whole thing, you'd want it to be a kind of a unified front, and being able to have these meetings and working together, and not have the, I guess, weird feeling, or like the issue, like the overlooming thing of this is just something's gonna happen, and there's gonna be a row about not sharing this or doing this, whatever, so
there needs to be moments where there is non-politicized conversations.
Yeah.
Like I feel like PNT and TRT died because of that as well, but I don't know if that's ever going to be acknowledged.
You said PRT and TRT?
Yep.
Oh yeah, I think so. I like it's purely from my point of view. I don't want to say it died the moment it was created,
the detective unit.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Wait, brother, so much actually. It took 30 days for all those units to die. Because I don't know how much of this you know, but it was like week 1. Like I remember, what's his name? Fucking, there was like plans set up. Like PRT was like 6 weeks in development, and like there was a whole plan for it. There was approvals to like the racing chip, right? That got reprogrammed for the PD. And then it was like week 1 was like, I don't agree with this. PD needs all the interceptors. And it turned into something. And as with most of these sort of situations, you know, it caused those that were invested in it and excited in it to get demotivated and just quit. Right?
Oh, I mean, I didn't quit. I was one of those. Like I was the shift 1 supervisor. And but like even before that, Brian, like the real problem was the divide, right, between the 2 departments. Because what they did was they got all the certs, and then they got 2 leads per shift that had to both be, one had to be BCSO, one had to be LSD.
Yeah.
Right there, you're just making the divide even worse, because there isn't somebody at the top that both departments trust. You have 2 people who then have to try and agree with each other, then have to deal with both departments, high command, complaining about this, that, and the other.
Right, both sides wanting something different instead of...
Exactly.
It all comes down to knowing how to compromise, and the thing that I've learned very quickly, especially in this position, holy fuck, is... Because this isn't my first rodeo in high command, but I will tell you right now, I have never seen a more... This isn't PD-centric. More of a... Individuals in power that do not recognize the basic, like, concepts of, like, negotiation and compromise and, you know, hey, not everyone gets to leave the table with everything that they want, right? That's normal. It's that you're going to get some of what you want, and they're going to get some of what they want. And that should be satisfactory. Now move on to the next thing, right? But I say that now that, you know, especially with the whole Chief Justice thing happening, right? Like,
I saw that, yeah.
I was thinking a lot about the why. And to me, it's rather obvious. DOJ's been in a bit of a stalemate, right? Like, who do you even go to make decisions? Things get lost in the ether. And, man, notwithstanding, man, last meeting that I attended, it was a shit show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was kind of sad on a number of levels. It was, I mean, I'll give you the cliff notes. It was, Rosner presented felony murder rule, right?
Okay.
Like one of the first cops to, like, actually, instead of kicking their feet, saying, yo, I'm going to present something, right, as a solution, because we were hitting this issue with the murder inside the DOC, which is, well, because we don't know who did the murder, pretty much no one goes to jail because our current law requires a primary actor. So if you don't know who the murderer was, no one else can get charged with accessory. But that's why felony murder exists, or used to exist, both here and elsewhere.
Yeah.
And so we didn't press charges, and the plan was, this is gonna, he wrote up a whole legislation piece, he presented it, and I want to say DOJ, but it was actually mostly Grayson, kind of started kicking his feet, and he was like saying how it's the wrong way to do it. And that why don't they just push the case and then let precedents get created. And I had to sit there and explain, like, that's not like how it works. Like, precedent is a way to do something. It's not the only way to do something.
Yeah.
And not to mention, it is kind of concerning if a judge is like preemptively thinking about, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, precedents, you don't just sit back and say, yo, let's let this case go to trial and we'll make case law, because you're self-admitting a position in a case outside of court before it's presented. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're prejudging. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, you're basically, he's basically saying take this case that's going to fail to court, and maybe there'll be precedent set as for a new case law afterwards, which is, he's already determined that it's going to fail for what's already up. Exactly.
Absent any evidence. And so, you know, I brought that up, and and then we were trying to explain, you know, hey, that's why legislation exists, because people are allowed to make things illegal or not illegal. That's kind of what legislation is.
Yeah.
But in a professional way, right? I didn't really go at anyone. But and then it turned to, I wouldn't put this on Angel, but she said she agreed, and she was also like we're trying to explain, man, we went out of our way to do the right thing. Right? What the hell, man? And he, oh yeah, I remember. She said, we need stuff like this because we want to get ahead of the ball, right? We're going to learn things while on duty, and we want to present them forward. And that's why we're bringing this here, so you can be involved in this conversation. And it's like, you know, it already takes up to 3 months, like, to get a case to go all the way through. And Grayson crashed out, like, for lack of a better word. And we were left hyper confused because he saw that as like a personal attack on, like, fuck the DOJ, but it's kind of like, we're like, no, man, like, it's just a reality. Like,
Angel's saying 3 months. He took that as an attack?
I'm sorry?
He took Angel saying it takes 3 months to get a case done as like a personal attack?
Exactly.
Or is it...
And we were so confused, and I tried to, like, de-escalate, and I was like, that's not what she's trying to say, man. Like, you know, but he wouldn't really have it, and he just left the room. The other justices were like a bit more understanding.
He just walked out?
Oh yeah. He just walked out, man. Like, it was so bizarre. And he wasn't taking any explanation. He just saw it as a personal attack and just kind of dipped. And then it kind of got worse. Because as a conversation,
I would have said 3 months is like a nice timeline. I would have said like way worse than 3 months.
Oh yeah, it can get real bad. I mean, notwithstanding,
I would say more than half the cases have been well over 3 months.
Notwithstanding, I've been a big proponent of, like, don't go around just saying fuck the DOJ. It creates a toxic work environment, because there are our colleagues in a way, right? It's saying I give up because I can't. You know, like, I would say fuck the DOJ if we, as law enforcement, actively went to them after a court case to understand the explanation and worked with them to, but we haven't been doing those things, right? So I don't think we have the right to say that to make a generalization. I just don't, I'm not a fan personally. But notwithstanding, hearing that kind of annoyed me, because I watched Marshall's put together the Silas Moreno case.
Yeah.
And Grayson, understandably at the moment, like, felt like he had to bow out of it, but that was still a choice he made, and then it had to get rescheduled, and now, like, like, you know, the fucking judge that dresses up like a criminal, I forgot what his name, like, Yi Long Ma, right? Is fucking overseeing a terrorism case where everything's like blown the fuck up. Hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh, hey, Ruth.
How you doing?
Pretty good. I'm with McCullen right now. Do you want to get in a Forder?
Yeah.
All right. We were actually chatting about the apprehension stuff. So
okay,
perfect
actually,
timing.
yeah, perfect time.
Okay. See you in a bit. Ooh, this is really good. When everyone's here, decisions can be made. You'll find very quickly, McQuillan, I'm not someone who likes to like sit on their hands. Like I always like to see even like inches of progress. So, I'm gonna pause on this Grayson thing because I'm gonna end up telling Ruth anyways.
So this way. Yeah, perfect.
Okay. Yeah, I don't drive.
Yeah, I can drive.
Only because I just got done telling McQuillan this. Ruth?
Thank you. No,
Got it. Yeah. Sometimes, all the snow, I just can't feel my hands where they are at.
We were just talking about warrant apprehension and the latest legislative meeting.
Okay.
There's a whole, the whole prison break situation.
Yeah.
Well, Rosner ended up writing legislation for felony murder rule because we couldn't charge anyone really without the primary actor. And there was like, it was presented at the legislative authority meeting. Grayson told him push it to the court case. We tried to explain that, like,
That's the point of the legislative authorities to not have to do everything through a court case.
Exactly. And he kept saying it was the wrong way and we're going to do something. It was very strange because that's not literally how it works, which it was a very concerning position to have. Let's just put it that way, because you're preempting like knowledge on a court. You're pretty much saying, I know what happened with this situation, so put it through court and we'll decide whether that makes sense or not, which they're not the feds, right? So do it the right way, right? They're not. I hate saying it that way, but it needs to be said because they're not, and that's like, you know what I'm saying? They that's why they have certain responsibilities that don't go beyond that. Just like I can't just go and take a military helicopter without their approval, right? Like, they're not kings, they're justices. Regardless, I went on to explain why, why we're doing it this way and why we're preempting it, because we're not going to, I use the example of, we're not going to wait for a kid to choke on the Lego before putting labels on toys saying, like, must be 3 or higher to play with this toy. Like, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Angel, at one stage, it turned into a 30-minute debate of him just kicking his feet, but Angel tried to explain, like, bro, we can't wait for court anyways, because it can take up to 3 months to schedule it, and Grayson crashed out and left the room.
It's Jackson. Hello? Yeah. They have tanks now? We need to get those SOPs written up so we can kind of figure out how we can utilize that.
They already are. We're training.
They're written up.
Next
Have
week.
we gotten them approved by the state? Oh, next week?
Yeah. All that stuff is being handled.
Perfect. Okay, so all of it's being set up, so by next week we should be able to kind of potentially assist more. I think it's both. I'm not sure. All right, thanks, Jackson. I did see Cooper 44 minutes ago was twatting.
Yeah, he was around just before Storm as well.
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, that happened. Make sure you park it after you paint it. All right, I'm gonna finish a conversation. We might have one more warrant available too, but I'll let you know. Bye. Yeah, I guess Sweden has tanks now.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. But yeah, so the long and short of it is Grayson ended up leaving. He then let the legislative authorities say he's not going to attend those meetings anymore until if cops show up.
What?
Yeah. He's refusing to attend them if police are present. He said it was a waste of time, which doesn't make any sense. Most of the room disagreed with that. Now, I don't think it's necessarily a consequence of that, but there is now a election for Chief Justice.
Okay.
I do think that that reaction is extremely relevant context. Separately, Faulkner hinted at a part of the conversation about LSPD being corrupt in it. And so King crashed out.
Oh my fucking god.
To which I'm like, I explained to him, like, listen, you're diligent, but after you're asleep and the tsunami happens, LSPD's a shit show. And I gave him like examples. And I'm like, tried to explain to him, like, you can't really be upset if your organization is documentedly observed and seen by members of authority being corrupt, right? And
yeah,
he kind of understood that, but
I mean, it's the whole Carmine situation. If Carmine explained it, if like what Osvaldo's second statement is true, that it was just a misunderstanding, if Carmine didn't try to cover it up, it wouldn't look so bad.
Well, the problem
like
is
the cover up is always the issue.
Exactly. And I've been trying to, there's the Alana reviews situation, which is really bad too. And then there's the Ruby and Bill situation. There's now a situation with Bjorn, which you saw the warrant. I don't know if you saw my notes. I added to it.
Yeah, I did. I talked to McAllister this morning too. I was like, the big thing is like, don't always assume guilt. We need to prove evidence before assuming guilt. He had taken down, after I left my comment, he had a bit of a crash out prior, and then he had taken it down after I kind of left my comment. Yeah, his crash out was like, why the fuck is LSPD hiring Bjorn? That's dumb as fucking shit. They complain about Barrick.
Listen,
like,
I'm gonna be real with you though. Like, he's not wrong about that. Like, I actually agree. Look, Bjorn 1000% was involved with the breakout, but the thing is, right? Like, for me, it has. Like, it's insane, and I did explain to Hobbler, and I genuinely believe that these guys were planning for us to review it, and we have to go with that, you know. Can't just assume guilt, right? In the same way as to what their intention was. But I explained to them that I want them to continue to write these things overnight, because waking up to search warrants and stuff
and then
is a good thing, right?
Yeah,
but,
I think I did tell him it was a bit bad faith. Saying it was terrorism and treason in the search warrant.
What needs to happen is communication, right? And outside of the... How do I put this? Here's my position, right? PD in general is not investigating. It's not writing reports, right? And so our mode of operation has to be education, encouragement, and development. So the position I took with Hobbler was, look, continue writing these things. The worst thing that happens is we tell them no the next day, right? Because they're not actively, like, at the end of the day, it's landing on command. I don't want like us to take like the approach of just shooting these guys down.
I think a big part should be like the conversations about like why, like, one, don't think it's needed at the moment, but also like trying to argue that it's terrorism or treason just for having a coin is a bit of a jump, and probably, you know, you could have articulated that with the charge that actually made sense. And like trying to get them to build up and get better at writing it.
Yeah. Well, that and that's kind of the bit that's missing, right? Notwithstanding the give me a second. Notwithstanding the fact that they don't have the context we do, right?
Yeah.
I don't like this fact. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want to be shitting on these guys.
But I did sort of have a conversation with McAllister today.
Like,
We were
I
just
know why
writing,
she
catching up
crashed
on some
out.
stuff about like, you
About
know,
it. We're not doing.
Right
we're not
now,
playing that
DJ
game.
Cooper was caught for something PD related, like a bank truck or something.
It's
I would
toxic.
love to write a warrant for his phone to get Charlie's new number under the guise of, you know,
I get it. People
I'm
are
investigating that
mad
one,
about
but it
it,
would be in bad
but they
faith for
literally
me
didn't
to
even
do
push
so,
this.
because that wouldn't actually be my intent for it.
Okay. Did you
Like,
sit
for
down
me-
and like explain all this to them?
Yeah, that's what I talked to McAllister about today, like just
Okay,
before
good,
this.
good.
I was like, even though, you know, I could, it shouldn't be done. That's bad faith. That's not my actual intent with it. And even if I legally could do it, it's just not the right thing to do. So I think I had a pretty productive conversation with him just before this.
So did he write it or did Hobbler write it?
Hobbler wrote the search warrant. McAllister wrote the report.
Listen, I'm gonna be real with you though. Like, I get their position because these guys are watching. Like, I'm not gonna hold too much against them. I'm gonna be real with you. You're not wrong, but like, these guys watch people shitlord all day, right?
Yeah. And
so,
that's where, like, I think just going back to the mindset that you talked about of like making sure we have the charges before we're
I'm not gonna
trying
be
to do
hyper
something
defensive on
innocuous.
Bjorn either.
And just trying to ingrain
like,
that
he's
into him
definitely
of, like,
guilty of
trying not to make that jump. Document everything regardless, but like don't come to the conclusion before the evidence leads there.
Okay. Cool story. Fuck, I lost my train of thought here.
We're back to warrant apprehension. I think we need to.
Yes,
circle back
that
to.
needs to be moved on because it's been like
waiting on them to be around. That's been the hinge.
So they were taken into custody. So the problem that we're having right now is we need the issue is they have been around, but we haven't been.
Yeah. Everybody that needs to be around at the same time has not been.
So we need a solution to that. And so my recommendation is we need to just send it. Because
just send them up, don't interrogate.
Oh, no. Like send the warrants. So I think there's like less than 2 weeks remaining. And
22nd, they're done.
Yeah. So if we
What do you mean by send it? Like, what more could we be doing besides waiting for one of us to be able to kind of do the interrogation part?
I think we need to let others. Well,
interrogate.
So I don't know the full extent. Like, what is your intention with these? Let's start there.
Intention is to, you know, instead of just going after and doing a big arrest with 30 swaps, we are tactical. We set up an op, we capture them, we do an interrogation, and then they can get processed.
The thing is, it's going too slow, right?
Yeah.
So let me use an example. Yesterday, DJ Cooper was put into custody, and the warrant couldn't be served. Now, does he need an interrogation? Does each one need an interrogation? I don't know the answer to that, but the reality is the 10 days are coming up. There's two things at play. Yes, it is valuable for us to be around in order to execute it, but we also can't let it linger over their head, right?
Yeah. Well, that's where, like,
and
at
most
some
of the-
point, maybe the last 5 days, we just activate a regular warrant. Anybody can capture them because it's not going to change kind of what's happening. If that's kind of what we need to do. Because it's if we just let anybody do it and we're not doing any of the stuff we intended, then it isn't much different than a regular warrant.
Yeah.
And I think
that's. Sorry, sorry, go on. I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off.
go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't necessarily think that's a bad idea. So here's the way I see it from like a patrol mindset, with who we have, right? Or who we're going for. I think I wouldn't like take too much issue with the HS Perez because he's quite late in the day, so we need to also think about that. But the other two, as much as like I like the idea, and the idea is really good for being tactical and kind of like swooping in, snatching them and going out. The problem is when they're gang members like the Manor, that's going to be very difficult. It is going to divulge into 6 high performance cars, swaps upon swaps upon swap. That is just the way the Manor are. It's the way the Besties are. It's the way Hydra are.
Exactly.
It's the way a lot of them are.
We can't operate with idealisms with every one of the warrants, right?
Yeah, but that's where like my dilemma comes in, is what then separates this from a regular warrant.
I would say it's what we're like their actions,
The objective.
what they're being held to.
Yeah.
I would say like if interrogations can happen, then they should, and if we're available there and isolate like an interrogation on all of them regardless is good. If we can't be there to do it, then we can't be there to do it. You can always do an interrogation another time when they're caught or wherever. But I think.
So I'll frame it like this, right? And is the marshal warrants are a tool that allows us as marshals to ensure that a random law enforcement officer does not apprehend somebody and do less than due diligence. That could be anything from not properly documenting everything, not properly running the guns, because that is a reality that we live in, right? Is people will, if it's a random warrant, someone can take it, they may not run the guns, they may give like 80% time off, they may decide like, oh, you know what, I don't think this warrant is good enough, and just not do it. Like there's a lot of cookedness that happens among local PD. The second tool is, in the event we want to interrogate them, we can do so. It's a
that's
tool,
where,
but it's not a necessity. Now, I personally do not know what the intention was behind these warrants, because I'm not involved in that, right? The only thing that I'm seeing is, we've got like 6 marshal warrants. Do we, what is our goal? And what is the goal with these? And do they need interrogations? Can they be served by Aldo? Can they be served by Nakota?
So I know Aldo would not feel comfortable serving himself any of these particular ones. It just feels a bit, he's, willing to help with apprehension, but like on the serving end feels a bit allergic to it.
Okay, I can understand that. My question, let's say serving it one stage is just sending them up. I think if all the information is there, it's just the charges and that they'd just be sent up, right? So
yeah.
Would it be wrong to say, okay, so I would say he could do it to that extent. Any sort of interrogation after that?
Yeah. Does it need an interrogation? That's you wrote a rule, right? Like, what was your intent?
I think it could go without. I think it could go without, but with the difference in Brandon, I would like to interrogate, but it's also I don't think it's needed.
I think that's a good example, by the way, of the difference, right, between Brandon and these gang members, right? Gang members, you're going to go into these massive swaps with Brandon, because the third thing that I wanted to bring on top of what you were saying, Brian, the point of the marshal warrants, there was the equipment that we might end up having as well, of that kind of actual swooping in all undercover, nabbing them, black bagging them, and bringing them wherever, right? I still think that's if we get the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
It just depends on the personnel we're going for, and I hate to say it, for these ones, if I don't know, you can put it in the warrant itself, interrogation.
I do think we need sort of a cert for people who are authorized to kind of serve these, and with the tactical mind, I would feel comfortable with Aldo and Nakota doing it, but I wouldn't feel comfortable with like Hobbler or Flores. Like that's where like I think there needs to be some deviation. Not anybody can move on at any time, but people who we feel like are confident to kind of run this sort of situation.
So I've already thought about this, and what I'd like to see is at the top of a marshal warrant, the intention, because and I want to use this, like this is a good test, right? I, as the director, when I look at this marshal warrant, which I'm not involved in, right, for obvious reasons, it is not clear to me what we're using it for in this case. Like, I could speak to the one that we wrote previous, right, where I'm like, I do want to get as close to snatching this person up, because this particular investigation, it's tied to demands an interrogation.
Yeah.
It demands us leaping on it in a strategic way, like outside of a car or whatever it might be. Now, that was handled by me personally, but when I, as the director, am looking at these warrants, I don't know whether it is effectively just making sure the processing is good, whether an interrogation is needed. So I think as a part of the template, two things should be done. One is who can activate and
that's already gone
and capture them. And the second is what the expected action is, right? Is it just apprehension? Is it apprehension and like, you know, like it could even be something like attempt to obtain hot gun, right? Or it could also say interrogation, so that when I look at it, or in future, a command member like Springfield looks at it outside of our time zone, it conveys that information, and then we can act on it appropriately.
We have the part of like who can activate it, but you wanted to keep it very limited to start as we started doing these. And since honestly, this is our first, like the other ones we did were kind of handed to us. These are our first ones that like are fully trying to actually go through the process.
Yeah.
And I think, there are definitely adjustments that need to be made.
Yeah.
I think if you can get the parameters, but a simple variation between two styles of warrants, right? This one, like the ones for Perez, DJ Cooper, Stephen O'Connor, all of them have had some sort of interrogation. I don't know what you could name it. But
yes,
like that is
exactly that.
Standard, like that's that is a bring to justice warrant. If let's say Brandon Valentino,
like
right? It's more in the style of
Can we name Brandon Valentino's, because that's also the one that I just had Adams look at, and it's good to go, and call it like a cinema warrant?
Let's not even touch that one yet, because that sounds like a distraction right now. Because
I think that's a good.
It's more talking about the different like types.
Yeah. I don't want to. The only reason I'm kind of like putting a pause on that is I'm looking at it like this, right? We have like I think 12 days or 11 days. I'm guesstimating. 11 days on these 10 warrants, and there's 6 people. So if we don't prioritize those. Wait, it's only 3? I thought I saw more than that.
So there's one for Ray that we weren't comfortable pushing yet. Frederick White I started, but that hasn't really, it's literally reckless evading, so I don't know if it's probably already outside of statute at this point.
I think the point, it's not necessarily talk about the warrant itself, it's the style of warrant compared, right? Because I think if you're going after Brandon Valentino, regardless, you want an interrogation afterwards. But even the type of person you're going to go after him in a different style, a different way. And that's probably closer to the way we have been doing up to this point, where, H.S. Perez, G.G. Cooper, Stephen O'Connor, we're going to have to lean heavily on local PD, and there's nothing really in any of it that suggests that it's going to be anything special, right? It's going to just turn into car swaps, high aggression, all that kind of stuff. We just kind of dictate it, I guess, because it is our warrants.
Well, exactly that. Like whoever is utilizing the tool, aka the marshal warrant, there should be a section at the top as to who they are enabling activating these, because that's going to vary, right? Warrant to warrant, situation by situation. And the second is the intention of it. Like, why are you writing this martial warrant? Because it not only answers a question for outside observers within SASM, but also has something written. So, you know, think about tomorrow, right? Like McAllister writes a martial warrant for some case he's working. We need to be able to look at that and be like, oh, okay, I see why we're not touching this yet, right? This is quite frankly not that much far different from like look at the Hovler warrant on Bjorn. We woke up to seeing this thing without any context and we're like, what the fuck? Now, it wasn't until I spoke to him that it got clarified that he wrote this so that we could use it, but this wasn't going, you know, like he was just doing work, you know what I mean? And so what I told him was at the top, you should be putting your intention in, and you should also, like, you know, alert us in our email chain so that when we're waking up, it's not a bunch of people losing their mind as to worst case scenario what Hobler's about to do, right? When and I said, you got to protect yourself because you're a shift 3 law enforcement officer, and I was very blunt about it. And I told him this. I said, shift 3 is notorious for targeting people that are not awake, and I'm not accusing you of that, but that is the framework that people think about these things when they see it. And the second is because you haven't been integrated, people are going to think worst case scenario, and we're not exactly in a healthy environment. So I'm like, you need to, which is the case, right? Like, how many times do these conversations happen? They're pretty often. Like, PD will go do something and everyone starts freaking out. I'm like, you need to put that shit in there. I don't want to be waking up and being like, what the fuck is Hobler doing?
So that's where, like, so I'm adding in right now warrant intention. Bring to justice, I think, is a great terminology for it. This is where I had talked about the Brandon one, where that can be sort of a cinema warrant, where it's not like a push now. It can be a lot more strategically thought out. Do you think that's good terminology?
Wait, say that last bit again? Sorry?
The terminology. So, like, for a warrant like Brandon's, that would be a lot more drawn out, does not need to kind of be in the time limit, is a lot more strategic, calling it a cinema warrant. So the warrant intention would sort of be cinema, not bring to justice.
In absence of adding more like nomenclature, I think that's just gonna, I'm not against having that in the title, but regardless
so
of the
I'm trying to come up with the categories, like, besides bring to justice, what other, like, intentions is there?
So I think both get solved simply by, at the top of every martial warrant, who can activate it and what is the intention of the martial warrant.
That's what I'm trying to talk about, the labels for the intention.
So instead of a label, it would be like at the top, it would be like, you know, in bold, like in the body of the report, you can say, you know, marshals who can activate, and then just a list. And then like reason for martial warrant, you know, targeted for interrogation, The reason I'm sort of straying away from like a tag or something like that is everything is so context specific that...
Yeah, but we need examples. Like, I need to be able to have the template, have the examples of, like, to get people. Because right now I'd be like, I don't know what to call it, like, unless you have something to kind of prompt.
I think it's so let's.
So I have like a bring to justice.
Could you
interrogation?
Real quick, use Stephen O'Connor as an example. So like, if I'm working off this in my head, Brian, what you're saying, right? So that you have the, let's say it's 3 points at the top, right? It's the who can activate it.
That's already on
there. Yeah. The next one would be the intentional warrant. If it is just an arrest warrant, or if it is an arrest warrant plus interrogation, or you can have somewhere where it says interrogation not necessary, or you know, if can be done, do it. If not, it's no stress, right? It's, I guess, that kind of way, because then it brings context into it instead of just saying a label. Is that what?
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I'm very against using a label because the three of us are going to know what that label means because we're building all the context in this very conversation. Those outside of here aren't going to remember shit, and they're going to be like, so, "What's a cinema?" Right? It should be completely verbalized.
I think it over verbalizing is going to cause a more issue because these are already like 5-page warrants that it's going to get glazed. So having a few keywords that people can reference, I think are going to be helpful is like where I'm at with it. Because these are already 5 pages. If they want to read through the full thing, like, I don't know if you even know, it's very clearly like the marshals that can use it are already on there, but you might not know that.
What's the warrant? I mean, I don't. I listen. If we have marshals that aren't reading the top bit and are skipping it, they're gonna get fired.
I mean, all of it is. There's pages of stuff. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Can I bring 2 points? So I think.
Could I see an example as we're sort of
36350.
My 2 points real quick, especially before you start reading, Brian. I think what the style of arrest or the type or what happens in the immediate after the arrest, I think that comes down to whoever's leading it from our side. So if they're aware of that, like they're setting it up, right? Let's say me, right? We're going after DJ Cooper, right? I have the plan in my head and then I relay to people on the radio, right? Right, this is just an arrest. Don't worry about anything afterwards. Or like I already know in my head that, you know, I might interrogate him just myself or I might not. That bit doesn't really matter too much. But I can read from the top of the warrant, or anyone from that point forward can just see, right, this is just an arrest
exactly
warrant. You don't have to worry about.
Yeah, like
it literally is probably
if you and I are
at the very top.
Exactly what you're saying.
Like, it just needs to be right. That's where I was like, I just wanted something small to write to kind of get the point across very clearly.
I mean, listen, I'm not opposed to that as long as the intention is there, right? Like for me, if I'm writing like a warrant and I'm the executor of it, like I'm not opposed to having something like cinema or whatever in there, as long as it includes like something verbalized, because communicating out a new term to a bunch of folks is less productive than, you know, there's 2 people that are authorized. I'm telling those people directly what my expectation is. So I'm, you know what I'm saying? Like if me, you and McQuillan decided to write a warrant on Lang Buddha tomorrow, a martial warrant, and we had a whole plan of action, given that we're the only 3 that are activating it, we already know what the expectation is. And as for the communicating out, a justice looking at it and seeing cinema, we don't want to go and explain for 30 minutes what a cinema warrant is. They should be able to just look at it and say, okay, they wrote this because they want an interrogation. They're looking for a hot gun. All right. Easy
I agree
clap.
with that. Yeah, I can see what that would be. And then
like you and I, Ruth, I've been talking about cinema a lot, so I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, but it's how do I even write that out in a Brandon warrant? Like if I were to do that, because that could be something we use for multiple.
I mean, Brandon warrant is very simple. I'm not on duty. He does not get arrested. Like there you go. Yeah.
Right, and that's already in there, but I'm talking about the intention of the warrant. Like if we want that in there, like what?
The intention of that one is going to be, you know, high profile capture, interrogation, high command, you know, arrest, right?
Yeah, I mean that actually keywords there are actually pretty good. Is high profile capture compared to
and we can even throw cinema in there as well.
Well, no, but I think that kind of, if I hear high profile capture, I'm already thinking that in my head. I don't need, you know, I know it's going to be a certain way, right? And then if I read like just capture or like bring to justice, I know it's just going to be, we're just catching the guys and we're charging them, you know? If I think high profile capture, I think like this is going to, like shit's going to go down at this, like we're going to do it a very particular way for very particular reasons. That maybe that's just me. Maybe I have too much common sense when I hear high profile capture though, but because you also need it not just for the justice, like it's going to go to justices, judges, or PD, and you're going to have to explain how it is. I think it just needs to be. Yeah,
it's just like bullet points.
Capture and high command. Nobody's going to question it until they know what's style of.
So for Brandon's, pretty much my intention, I just added high profile capture. Brian Knight must be present.
Yeah, high profile capture, interrogate, like in-depth interrogation. I throw that in there too. The other reason I'm avoiding cinema is like you, me, and some of the justices know what that means. I don't want that in the warrant because I don't know how to put this other than we put that into a warrant. Someone who doesn't know what we're thinking, because this is kind of like we're thinking a little Oscar Charlie about what that means. And that if someone goes and says, oh, dog, yo, these motherfucking marshals are trying to do some like cinema shit, like it might turn into something else. Yeah, exactly.
That shit in court as well. That's
yeah.
No, I can understand that. My other point,
I am filtering some of, like, and trust me when I say that, I understand where you're coming from. I'm applying a filter of how I have seen behavior in the other departments, the judiciary, et cetera, and so hence, like, my apprehension. You know?
Yeah, I can understand that.
I especially in the lens of, like, keep in mind, right, and just to kind of like bring home the point, is Brandon Valentino in this entire circumstance snitched out the faceless, perhaps a part of their plan, while subsequently allowing his friends to get literally murdered along the way for a stabbing. And
where he was also stabbed and lost a finger.
Yes, exactly. Right. So they're already playing so close to the razor's edge. Oh, and then let me also add that he's asking for a FOIA. He was on Twitter yesterday. And
oh, yeah, I denied his FOIA.
Yeah, exactly that. And he was on Twitter yesterday being like, why aren't you giving the FOIA? And I literally twatted out, if you give me, I'll give you a consent form tomorrow. And if you sign it, we'll release some of the stuff with your stuff on it. You know, like, I don't mind releasing some of his interrogation tapes. That'd be fucking huge help. But the point that I'm drawing there is, like, we don't want the defense to see the word cinema and we get fucked by it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they nitpick it and make it a whole fucking, yeah.
Yeah. So I have, for all of them now, their warrant intention is arrest warrant.
Yeah, I think that's...
I like that a lot.
Yeah,
the names were already in there. I did add in, I will let them know, Nakota and Aldo are cleared to apprehend even if nobody is around to kind of interrogate.
I like that.
I don't know there's many others at the moment that I would kind of trust.
Who are the names? Is it just the people we captured or...
It's Steve, DJ, and Akez. Yeah, it's the three we already captured.
Okay.
So, like, if I was around for, because I didn't get to interrogate him myself, like, if I was around for Stephen O'Connor's one, I probably would drag him into interrogation, but I wouldn't see it as, like, a big deal, right? Because I had a decent rapport with him as well, so I'd probably just, you know, shitstorm a little bit and just see what I can get out of him, but it's, like, I could do that anytime he gets arrested. I could do that, I could hear him get arrested, like, randomly in a month's time and do that anyway, you know? It's not overly pressing.
It could be bullet points, it could be sentences, too. As long as it's...
I do have one point about all this. I don't... Because I know, like, Marshall's still kind of very early stages in terms of the whole department, right? And maybe this is, like, thinking a little bit further down the line, but I only really think of it because of Brian, like you're saying, you're building for down the road.
Yeah.
I don't think the warrant apprehensions like these should be necessarily a cert. I think it being tied more to rank within the department might be better. Just even from like an outside perspective, I think certs make it more of like an option.
No, we're not doing a cert. I think it's...
Yeah, that's...
I think rank is the wrong way, because like I don't know that I would trust kind of Blunt to go through one of these ops, but I would trust somebody who has like is more PD background.
I'll simplify it, is they require command approval, right? And our command must be trained with it. That is my responsibility, but in turn it's a responsibility of the command member to know what they're doing, right? So if
if you don't have it written in there, they need command approval.
Yeah.
So I will.
So and
the SOP.
Beautiful. Yeah, I like that a lot. Like it is, you know, SASM command is not, I'm just going to be a little toxic here. We're not LSPD. We're not the BCSO. You know, there are standards for our command structure that come with responsibilities, right? It's not I've got a new rank in Valorant type shit. So as such, like, you know, let's say Springfield were to sign one of these and she did so sleepingly, I'd be like, up, I'd be up Springfield's ass about it, right? And that's how it should be, right? Like, right? Like if it was like, yo, dog, I saw someone that looked like Forehead, had knife, martial warrant, and like, you know, Springfield signed off on it, which she wouldn't, mind you. But if I saw that, or like it came to, I'd fucking reamer in your asshole. I don't want to overcomplicate things. Is kind of, I think the two key things for us to filter through is, number one, how do we increase communication on these things, which I think we've solved with these changes, and number two, what is our verification process? And I think command is well within reason.
Is that, also,
okay.
I don't know if I think I told you tonight, there is a marshal warrant board. I did move it down to the clerk category, so she could also, if she's on duty, be looking at Twatter and seeing if any of the individuals that have an active warrant or a awaiting contact warrant are around, so people could move on it and she can let them know.
I wouldn't make that clerk, because in future there may be other clerks. Rather, we should.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's rather, I think Dawn is just somebody that is excelling, and therefore I would much rather over time give her more privilege, right? Rather than make it an everyone clerk thing. You know what I mean?
All it is like a list of names of people.
Yeah,
like,
I'd rather give her more privilege, just because I'm thinking about tomorrow, because I've already told her to hire more folks, right? So if we hire someone and someone's like, why do your clerks have access to this?
It's just like a list of names. It's not anything intense.
Oh.
I can if I may, I can see the argument of just like if somebody does get hired and then maybe they have a loose mouth right off the bat. I think it's more like not necessarily like if they say a bunch of names, or they just say it to one person and then it leaks back, and then people can change the story and make it into a bigger thing. I think.
Yeah, I'm avoiding
like
my own headache. I'm gonna be honest.
I think that's what I was gonna point to. Yeah.
Let's not do that.
Are they all gonna have access to our radio? Dawn's the only clerk. I don't know. Honestly,
she does. She does, but
if that's going to be the norm, because I assumed that most of the stuff she's doing will be the norm.
I mean, that's to be determined, right? Like it.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of that comes down to like the quality of people we bring in. So, I'm not the amount of talent in San Andreas right now is pretty like variable. So, a lot of our decisions have to be based on, you know, what gets put forward to us. I mean, to kind of bring it home, we have to operate on being pragmatic and practical, right? And as opposed to, I guess, ideal, because in a perfect world, just to kind of paint a perspective, we need more marshals pretty desperately, right? However, the reality is there's an anti-poach culture, while simultaneously there's not really, you know, to get to where we need to be would require hiring many new people and doing about like 3 months of training. So,
yeah. I think it would be fair to say, it's. You can't think too far in the future, but I would say Dawn's like a very good example of what a clerk should be. Would I be wrong in saying that? So like,
oh my god,
that should be the example that we're looking
100%.
And her filtering that down along with us filtering that down like constantly to anybody who does get hired, that will set the standard, or it'll weed out the issues, I think. So if we keep a high standard and we keep like saying, you know, and she keeps a high standard, I don't see it being too much of an issue. But that would have to be over time, right? Someone gets hired and then like a couple of weeks, and then you start to see, right? Because it's kind of guesswork until it happens, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, I learned. I'm just gonna be kind of frank about it. I learned a long time ago after jumping back in command over at BCSO that we ain't where we used to be. Like, you almost have to realign things as we go, because like
I did have one.
She's
more
also Dawn is also like. Listen, if we get someone 50% of Dawn, I'm gonna be happy. I think she's such a rare commodity.
Exemplary. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But having someone like that to also hold a very good standard is good and gives you a better chance at that as well.
I hate saying this, but like, moment I went over there and I realized how fucking corrupt shit was, not in BCSO, but just like in high command in general, I was just like, what? I realized like shit ain't like it used to be.
I did have a clarifying question. I know we were talking about the command being the ones to activate it. I guess it's just a question on
not activated, to approve the warrant, right?
Sorry, yeah,
because thus far it's been Ruth and myself that have made it, but like, say in future someone wants to make one, they can do so. They just should have another marshal approve it.
I guess my question in terms of just so I know when I look at a command member, like, actually, I don't know how to word this. I guess the expectation of a command member is there an expectation for them to be able to lead it as well, or is that kind of like? I guess I'm just looking at expectations of command members, right? So like,
I think in general, right, SASM is a boutique, right, and it requires all of us to kind of work together on these things. It goes back to my principle of like 78th for the marshals is backing up the other marshals in what they need to do. So, you know, if say I wanted to go and attack something, like I'm not in, I'm making myself available even for these marshal warrants, even though I was stabbed for it, because that's the right thing to do, right? If tomorrow Nakota has a marshal warrant and I'm helping him with it, I'm 100% gonna be there. I think we should all be all hands on deck and pull in local PD, right? That we trust on it.
100%, yeah. Okay, yeah, that was my only real kind of clarifying question.
I think anything that allows us like to be efficient is a good thing in my eyes, right? So obviously not everything's in our control, especially during the holidays. People are going to be around, people are not going to be around. Like, I'm not going to hold that against anyone, but if opportunity arises and we're like, we're chilling, let's go execute on these things, right? Like
I know we did mention the patrol. I don't think we talked. I know you mentioned it, Brian, the patrol cert. Where? I can't remember if we even talked about. Where are we standing on that? Whereabouts are we with it?
So now that Academy is done, Dawn and Crane. So Crane effectively. Wait, you were with me, right? You remember Dawn was like writing everything down and putting into sections.
Yes.
So the next thing. Sorry, one sec. This might be urgent. Hey, Angel, how you
Brian.
doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Cooking. We got a couple pots on the stove, so.
You're cooking meth?
No, we got some pot. No, I'm not. I'm a marshal, Angel. I didn't go back to LSPD.
Oh yeah, confused. I
Yeah.
didn't know I was talking to Opal right now.
No.
You got a second for a quick conversation?
Yeah. Can you on the phone, or do you want to meet up?
Just meet up really quick. Probably
Yeah,
maybe a few
absolutely.
minutes at most.
I need just 10 minutes. We're wrapping up we're probably going to be chatting for a bit, but I got to wrap up this conversation, then I can link up.
All right, cool. Sounds good.
Do you know what the topic is? Is it good for McQuillan and Ruth, or is it?
They could be there if you want. I want to talk about the upcoming justice elections, Chief Justice stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
So you can bring whoever really you want for that conversation, I suppose. So
sounds good.
Doesn't matter to me. So.
All right.
All right, cool. Well, call me when you're ready, okay?
All right, we'll do. You take care.
Bye.
Yes. So Dawn in the Academy document wrote down different modules and a bunch of the stuff, effectively everything that was in Academy. So that is going to be the basis of the patrol cert, but only as a starting point, because some things probably got to get added and some things got to get removed. And Anna and Dawn are seeing if there is a means by which they can put that into the database tool, right? So it's either going to go there or it's going to go into a report. And I want you to imagine it like this. There is going to be like module 1, RS and PC, let's say, and then, check boxes for a bunch of things that the person needs to know. And then there might be something for, traffic stops, et cetera, and a bunch of check boxes. And each one of those modules will have, and I want you to visualize this, the colors aren't relevant, but rather the context here is there may be, let's say in a module, like the first 10 out of 15 checkboxes may be green, right? If you get all those green ones, you're good. If you get all the green ones for all the different modules, you're good. You can, do patrol. You're fantastic. The red ones are going to be more like a reach, right? Like more advanced stuff. Like, do you know how to do a pretextual stop? Do you are you aware on how to articulate like constructive possession of like some, you know what I mean? Like whatever the things are that you'd expect a senior or sergeant to know, but they are there as a reach. And so, yeah, that's kind of where we're going with it. So, that's going to take some time to develop because we don't have people to develop it. Right? I gotta pretty much. It's like, whenever Roots got time, I got time, you got time, Crane's got time to kind of shore it up. And transparently, I'm not in a super rush anymore either because people have stopped crying about marshals on patrol. Yeah. And so it's giving us breathing room to get it right, even if we don't utilize it right now, and we, it gets used after the economy blows up. So
okay, well, I guess from my suggestion then, and if you guys are okay with it, just actually off the back of Academy, I think everyone who was there, I think everyone can see benefits of this at minimum, instead of like getting involved in calls. But I would like as many of these guys going out and traffic stops, or trying to, like, if something, they're kind of out hunting for traffic stops, right? Because I mean, one of the biggest catches we almost had was through a bog standard traffic stop, and if you can have people attached to a traffic stop and control a traffic stop very well, which is pretty much every parameter you have to be good in a field situation is in a traffic stop. You control potentially dangerous people in a vehicle, you control what they do in the vehicle, you control your units around you on radio, and how you speak to your units on radio. You get everybody who is at that academy good at that one thing, it all leaks into everything else.
I agree with that.
So I guess, would you be down if I start, getting people?
Oh, please!
Like a little mandate, like
yeah, please, by all means.
Stop. Yeah, like do a couple traffic stops a day. Get back up from at least one of us, and even if it's a nothing, like a complete nothing burger, if it's just fucking speeding, I'll give them like a small little checklist in their head of things to do.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
You know what I mean?
If there is anything and everything that you're looking to empower others with your knowledge, then by all means. Like, given that the complaints, I have listen, look, brother, I've pretty much put the idea in some of these guys. I mean, I told Pred this directly. I have plans for SASP, San Andreas State Patrol. Okay. I literally made it up. Look, I mean, these were one of the benefits of Pred's politics of just being hyper divisive and just a shitlord in these high command conversations is that I've just defaulted now to just trolling the fuck out of him, because it's pointless, right? Having a adult serious conversation. So in doing so, I think I have completely broken his will to like complain about these things, because I pretty much told him, I'm untouchable. I will do what I want. And a lot of the fuck SASM patrol has gone down. As a consequence of that, we will do what we need to do. That does not mean the patrol cert will still happen, but it's now given me breathing room to make sure it's done right? Because the last thing I want to do is haphazardly put one together and send them out for the sake of just the metrics, like, oh, we got 7 people with a patrol cert, because you know how that goes, right? Like, it ends up causing us to reset anyways, like if we don't do it right the first time.
If they're not an acceptable standard, then you've wasted your time.
Exactly.
I think my main point of putting this across is I know better than, Nakota will also know better than anyone. A lot of this stuff that you taught at Academy only gets good through repetition, and they have to do it day in, day out. They have to, and that
absolutely,
they can't go to calls every day. There's no ping chasing. But there is something that they can do relentlessly, because it'll be how we catch one of these guys. It'll be how we catch one of these high-profile people is through a fucking traffic stop.
It also will get them in articulating RS and PC as well.
100%.
Because you do have to write the report if you pull somebody over. So they're pretty good at a lot of that stuff, but I think it will allow us to narrow down where they might need a little more help.
Yeah, because I know for a fact there is a lot of intelligent people, and I guarantee they could all look at a book and then give me a whole rundown of what a traffic stop would be. But then I'll take them out in the car and tell them to do it, and I know I will not see a perfect traffic stop. And that's ideally what you want, is somebody who's good in the field, and they just won't get it if they don't do it repeatedly.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I don't think
So yeah, I'll think I might make up a little report and go through steps and just see give them things that I would want to see them do, because the standard of traffic stops is completely terrible. So I would like for people, you pull over somebody and they say it's a blue car, gray car behind them, they know it's a mark, that they're not going to get away with some of the stupid shit that they would normally. Like if I was controlling
how bad stop, what have you seen? I'm gonna be honest with you, when it comes to traffic stops, I tend to do them myself. You know what I'm saying? I haven't really been. It's very rarely I'm in a passenger seat watching someone do a traffic stop, so I have no idea how bad they've been.
Well, a big thing for me that, and I've been guilty of this, is just because I've really started thinking that it's to control information, right? So if I come up to, and especially if it's somebody high value, or we think it might be high value, if I see them on their phone and I tell them to get off their phone, they don't, I'm yanking them out of the car. It's kind of putting that authority of not giving these guys,
I want to dial up
the traffic stop isn't
stuff
there
too,
for them
right?
to give one-word answers and be on their phone for 10 minutes as they organize
the reality is it's December and people are going to be
the traffic stop is very much
off and on, right?
Is in control of it.
But that's why I want us to just do it. Is kind of the vibe I'm going with. And as long as we have a marshal, right? Then it's not going to go bad because they know what to do.
It's kind of I would like that standard for us, so it kind of ups the ante when people do get pulled over for us, especially ones that we're looking for or have connections to those people. Does that make sense, or is that a little bit of an overreach, you think?
No, I think pragmatically, the more we do it, the better it is. And if people make mistakes, that's an opportunity to reinforce correction, And so, yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that.
Do you want to drop me off? A couple of them were just calling me, so I was going to see what they need.
Brian, do you need to go to Angel?
Yes, I need to have a chat with Angel.
Oh, fuck.
Oh. He came out.
Oh, my God.
Sorry, I'm trying to catch up to a parallel thing for the 37 Alpha. It's all right.
You're good. Sorry,
it's all right.
Oh, is she back in BCSO?
Looks like it.
No, she had an LSPD blip. I think she just had a.
Maybe it was just a car. All right, perfect. Do you want me to bring you up there, Knight, or do you want to grab your own car?
I will drive on up. If I remember where the hell my vehicle is. Ooh, yeah, I'm gonna need a drive. I left it up there.
Yeah, I can bring you up.